What's up, party people? It's your favorite neighborhood lawyer, Markwell Cade with Cade Mark Law, back with another resource for you. Choosing a lawyer is hard, and much like choosing an accountant or a contractor, you should approach choosing an attorney wisely. Not only are you going to be sharing confidential information with this person, but you're also trusting their legal advice and their ability to guide you through a situation that you can't navigate alone. We're going to talk about some things you should consider when choosing an attorney. One of the first factors you should consider when hiring an attorney is how long you need them. Before you start asking friends and family and colleagues for referrals or looking online for attorneys, you have to address your own needs. You have to understand what you need the attorney for. Are you in a legal dispute with another party? Are you in a situation where you feel like it could resolve itself fairly quickly? In those situations, you may only need an attorney for a limited time, and those needs should be addressed by getting an attorney that only addresses those short-term concerns. However, if you're opening a business or running a business, you may need an attorney's advice throughout the life of that business, throughout your career. This is because corporate laws can affect how you structure your business, how you file your taxes, how you manage your workers and do the employment contracts and things like that. So in those cases, you may need a lawyer long-term, and it's helpful to have a lawyer that's familiar with your situation and consistently represents you in those situations. Another factor to consider is what area of law that lawyer practices. Similar to medicine, law is a very large field of study. You wouldn't go to an ophthalmologist to get something checked on your foot. You wouldn't go to a pediatric surgeon if you were a fully grown adult. Pediatric surgeons are for kids. That being said, the same thing applies to lawyers. Some lawyers cover real estate law, some focus on business, some focus on family law, intellectual property, like myself, immigration, employment, accident, injury, bankruptcy, criminal law, civil rights. I can keep going. But if you need legal advice or representation for a specific or complicated situation, you might want to get a specialized lawyer. There are attorneys that practice a wide variety of situations and that have experience handling many areas of law. I'm one of those lawyers. And there are some smaller communities that have lawyers that only practice in a general sense. Because of the smaller community, they need to be adapted to any situation. Larger metropolitan areas have more specialized lawyers that focus on a specific area of law. And if you have a complicated, complex legal situation, you may need a lawyer that specializes in a particular area of law. And this is a factor you should consider. Another factor to consider is the size of the firm that the lawyer works at. The size of the firm can affect your decision in a few ways. Larger law firms, for example, are usually more established and have greater resources, but they can also be more costly. In many cases, with larger law firms, a client will end up dealing with more support staff and dealing with the support staff just as much as they deal with the lawyer, and sometimes even more so. The larger the firm, the more likely it is you're going to deal with several people from several different secretarial pools or client management control people. Smaller firms are more personable and maybe less expensive. It's likely that you'll get to know that individual lawyer from the law firm quite well. However, smaller law firms may be limited in their services or their capacity if they don't specialize in the area of law that you desire. This is another factor to consider when choosing a lawyer. Unsurprisingly, another factor to consider when choosing a lawyer is their cost. Cost is a major factor for many clients when deciding on choosing an attorney. Ask a lawyer for a quote. Ask how they bill their clients. If you've never worked with a lawyer, you should know their rates can vary. For example, some lawyers can charge an hourly rate. Some lawyers can charge a retainer, which is basically just costs that are held and then billed from as an account or pulled from. You have flat fees. You have contingency fees. Contingency fees are when they take the case for free and then you pay after the fact. Only if you win, if you hear those commercials sometimes. A flat fee is very simple in that it's just a blanket fee for a set service. But cost and billing are a very important factor that you should consider, and you'll want a lawyer who has the negotiability to be able to choose something that fits your financial needs. Find out if fees are included, expenses such as shipping, court filings, travel. All these costs are charged differently per attorney, per firm, on a different basis. If you're unsatisfied with the quote or the cost is over your budget, shop around, ask questions, maybe talk to the lawyer about other quotes you've had. A lot of times, lawyers will work with you. Sometimes they won't. You may even wish that these costs are covered in a written agreement, and they should be. Don't hire any lawyer who's unwilling to provide you with a written fee contract. Another factor to consider is perhaps underrated, but you should be looking for a lawyer that's compatible. Compatibility is something that's overlooked, but there's a lot of things that go into lawyering. You'll want to find a lawyer where mutual respect is important. A lawyer who will work hard for you, who exercises good judgment, who's thorough and thoughtful in the process. You want someone who's trustworthy and makes you feel comfortable. Compatibility is key, just like with your partner. Another factor to consider is availability. Is your lawyer available for you? Do they have enough time to dedicate to your case? What's their caseload like? Can they take the case on immediately? When can they provide results for you? These are important questions to ask if you plan on being in contact with the attorney often. If they appear overworked, consider looking for someone who has the time to attend to your needs. What's more is sometimes lawyers work with a legal team that includes support staff, paralegals, other lawyers. If this is the case, you'll want to confirm who exactly you'll be working with, who you should direct your questions to, who you should talk to about your concerns. This will impact the quality of your legal service and the cost of your legal service, as some firms charge you for communicating with the secretarial staff as well. Finally, one of the most important factors to consider when choosing an attorney is communication. Does your lawyer communicate with you? I have so many clients, and their number one concern with lawyers that they've worked with in the past is that they weren't communicative. They didn't respond to their needs. They would reach out to them, and then there would be days that passed by before they heard back. Weeks sometimes. Often, between paperwork and meetings and court costs and those things, there's a tendency to fall out of touch with your lawyer. So try to establish proactive communication at the beginning. To prevent missed meetings or phone calls, state your preferred method of communication and the best time to reach out. Agree on regular check-in times with your lawyer to discuss updates and to ask questions. And a good attorney will provide this for you already. A good attorney should take the time to explain complicated matters, to provide you with plain English and advice on your situation, and present you with an array of solutions to mull over before deciding on a plan of action. And those options will be tailored to your situation and your needs. Communication is key, not only in relationships with your partner, but relationships with your lawyer as well. You'll want a lawyer who will communicate with you. That's all, people. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been Factors to Consider when choosing a lawyer. Once again, I am Markwell Cade with Cade Mark Law, your favorite neighborhood lawyer. Protect your brand, grow your business, stay frosty, my friends. We will see you tomorrow.